Hello everybody, welcome back. Another fantastic Mr. Fox lesson. This time we're looking at chapter 6. We're going to be looking at vocabulary in a task that we call Word Wizard, where we're looking for new words and interesting words. So, last time we were reading, the farmers had tried to dig the foxes out with shovels. Hadn't gone very well, but then they had gone to get mechanical shovels, big diggers, to try and dig Mr. Fox, Mrs. Fox, and the little foxes out. So, chapter 6, sit back. Okay, hold on to your seat. It's about to get very intense. Okay. Now there began a desperate race, the machines against the foxes. In the beginning, the hill looked like this. After about an hour, as the machines bit away more and more soil from the hilltop, it looked like this. I should say, in the book, there's different pictures showing the hill getting, the hole at the hill getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometimes the foxes would gain a little ground and the clanking noises would grow fainter. And Mr. Fox would say, "We're going to make it, I'm sure we are." But then a few moments later, the machines would come back at them, and crunch of the mighty shovels would get louder and louder. Once the foxes actually saw the sharp metal edge of one of the shovels as it scraped up the earth just behind them. "Keep going, my darlings," panted Mr. Fox. "Don't give up." "Keep going," the fat boggis shouted to Bunsen Bean. "We'll get him any moment now." "Have you caught sight of him?" Bean called back. "Not yet," shouted Boggis, "but I think we're close." "I'll pick him up with my bucket," shouted Bunce. "I'll chop him to pieces." But by lunchtime, the machines were still at it, and so were the poor foxes. The hill now looked like this. The farmers didn't stop for lunch. They were too keen to finish the job. "Hey there, Mr. Fox," yelled Bunce, leaning out of his tractor. "We're coming to get you now." "You've had your last chicken," yelled Boggis. "You'll never come prowling around my farm again." A sort of madness had taken over the three men. The tall, skinny Bean and dwarfish, pot-bellied Bunce were driving their machines like maniacs, racing the motors and making the shovels dig at terrific speed. The fat Boggis was hopping about like a dervish and shouting, "Faster! Faster!" By 5 o'clock in the afternoon, this is what had happened to the hill. A massive hole had appeared. The hole the machines had dug was like the crater of a volcano. It was such an extraordinary sight that crowds of people came rushing out from the surrounding villages to have a look. They stood on the edge of the crater and stared down at Boggis, Bunce, and Bean. "Hey there, Boggis! What's going on?" "We're after a fox." "You must be mad." The people jeered and laughed, but this only made the three farmers more furious and more obstinate, and more determined than ever not to give up until they had caught the fox. Goodness me, farmers have lost the plot, haven't they? Not having lunch. Imagine not having lunch. But yeah, they're digging after these foxes with their big mechanical shovels, and the poor foxes have to keep away from the farmers. Dig, 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 dig. Now, there would have been some new words in those 3 pages there. I wonder if you want to pause maybe and go back and have a look. If not, take you on to the next slide. I've already picked out 5 words that we're going to look at today. We've got, I'll say it, then you say it. So we've got the first one, desperate. Next we've got jeered, dervish. Oh, this one up at the top, a difficult one. If you played spelling roulette, you'll know that if there's an E at the end of a word and an A in front, then the A becomes an A sound. Yeah. So this one at the top is obstinate. And finally, we've got crater. Fantastic. When we look at those words, actually, desperate, obstinate, crater, they've all got that E after the A to make it A. Yeah. Now, these are 5 interesting words. They're new vocabulary. I think it's a really good point as well to discuss that there's one word here dervish. And it's a word that maybe we wouldn't actually use these days. I think some people have they have an understanding of what the word means, but they don't actually know where it comes from. And you've got to remember that Roald Dahl wrote these books back in 1970, well, the late 1960s. It's published in 1970. That's 50 years ago, and people's attitudes have changed quite a bit since then. So when we read these books, it's interesting to know that some of the language maybe isn't what we'd expect, but that it was written so long ago that it maybe wasn't seen as such a bad thing at that time. But it's still a very good one to look up. So, task today is to find definitions for new words. Now, if you're in my class, you'll know, but you should know, we do it every week with the Wilmer Show. We try to look at words in a dictionary. We try to find the definition. The definition is what a word means. So, for example, the definition of teacher is somebody who educates younger people. So the task today is to find and write the meanings for these new words using a dictionary or a search engine. Now, a search engine is Google or Yahoo or Safari or whatever you might have on a tablet or laptop at home. And the best way to do this is to type in the word, so type in desperate, then after it, write the word definition or define. If you write that in, the first result that will usually come up will be telling you what that word means. So that's what we're going to do today. To be successful in this activity, what do you need to do? Well, you need to pick one of the words and write it out with pyramid spelling. If you have forgotten what pyramid spelling is, that's absolutely fine. For crater, for example, I would have crater. Can you see how it kind of makes like a pyramid shape? That's why we call it pyramid spelling. And it's a good way to break down the individual sounds. Anyway, so write the word out with pyramid spelling. Once you've done that, then you have to go into a dictionary or onto a search engine and search for the meaning of the word. Once you've found it, write it down, and then can you try to put the word in a sentence? Could you try to make up your own sentence? Now, I think if you do that for even 3 words, that would be great. So if you looked to write the sentences for, I don't know, jeered, desperate, and crater, that would be excellent. You don't need to do it for all 5 then. Once you're done with that task, if you could post your work on Teams, that would be amazing. If not, don't worry. I understand. Teams is difficult. Uploading things on your phone and stuff, it's difficult. Making these lessons takes so long. I know it's hard. So just give it a go. And that's all we can ask. Okay. Thanks so much. Next, we'll be looking at chapter 7. Bye.